Welcome back to another episode of the Sabre Report podcast. This being our season preview episode, and for our listeners, I don't know if we sound a little different, but once we start talking, you'll realize that we are together. We're in person. We're back. Band's back together. First time since the draft live stream?
I think so. Yeah.
That was the draft live stream was the first time we were together. Last time we were together.
Technically, the last time was when Christian's Asterix Jeopardy win, but that doesn't really count.
Okay. Come on.
The episode that was
An released episode, so it doesn't count.
Yeah, and for anybody that's watching, we're not at Christian's apartment. We're not at another secluded location. We're at Wingnuts Buffalo. Wingnuts, Genesee Street. They were kind enough to invite us out here and let us record an episode in their private room, room 40. So that's where we're stationed right now. The famous, I think Josh Allen made it famous, room 40.
Yep.
It's a picture right there, the joke.
Just a little off screen, right next to the Dane Smith jersey and a couple of other Sabres artifacts behind us. But that's our setup for tonight. We could not be more thankful for the opportunity. We're happy to be here and happy to do our official season preview episode on their location. So thanks again.
Yes, thank you to Wingnuts, and I'll say it again. It's always great to get together to do an episode of a podcast. I feel like the flow is just, we get into more of a flow state, recording over Zoom is great, or whatever our new software is, but it's always a nice change of pace to get back together. So I'm excited. The season starts on Thursday. Ready to get my heart broken again. Let's do this thing.
Well, season already started, actually.
So yeah, it started right
now. Opening night, we got hockey on in the background too, so it's getting real.
Yeah. Happy October, happy NHL season night. Sabres kick off in 2 days. Cheers. Let's have a good season.
Cheers, fellas.
What we have to talk about today is, in 2 days' time, the Sabres will be dropping the puck for the 2025-2026 season, or at least the night we're recording. It is Tuesday night. You'll probably be listening to this on either Wednesday or Thursday. And there's a lot to cover. I don't know really where else to start, but let's wrap up the preseason really quickly. So 2 games went down since the last time the Sabres played, or since the last time we recorded. 2 preseason matchups against the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they were both losses. A 5-3 loss on home ice, and then a 5-4 overtime loss in Pittsburgh. Now we saw 2 lineups that were decently full of NHL players. Any general takeaways in these 2 games? I'll start. One storyline from the preseason that is pretty consistent is that Josh Norris looks pretty good.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
Josh Norris is continuing his good play with Tage Thompson, and I mean, it actually gives us some hope going into the season with him. I mean, there's actually a lot of positive talk about Josh Norris in this fan base for probably the first time ever, because even when we traded for him, it wasn't the most positive since he was already hurt. But
this is true. Yeah. It was a lot of injury talk, but kind of didn't know what you had there for a while. You feel like you're starting to, get a little glimpse of what it could be, and fingers crossed he stays healthy, because he's been so much fun to watch this preseason, him and Tage, especially when you throw Benson in the mix with them. It's like, man, could be something there, guys. It could be something.
For the entire preseason, Tage Thompson and Josh Norris led the NHL in points, or were tied. They were actually tied with 4 other players. It is preseason, and you're going to be able to tell why. Can you guess the 4 names that those 2 were tied with?
Oh man, I saw a graphic of this, but the names are escaping me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna make you guys waste your time. Wyatt Johnston was one.
Okay.
Morgan Frost was another. Hendrix Lapierre.
Okay.
And Michael Brandsegniga, who's not even he hasn't even played a game in the NHL yet.
What company to be in?
It is elite company. It does show, it is the preseason. So still encouraging, and I think what's most encouraging about that is that in one of those games, or actually both of those games, Zach Benson didn't play, and the Josh Norris Tage Thompson connection was still on display. It was still really good. The two clearly have some chemistry, and I think that was the most encouraging part. Even when because I'll tell you this, I don't think Jack Quinn has had a good preseason.
I think a lot of people would agree with you on that.
Or at least it's just more of the same from last year. I don't think he looks very different from what we saw last season, and what we saw last season was not a very good hockey player. And Tage Thompson and Josh Norris had to play with him, and those two did not slow down despite, Quinn not exactly. I think he's not Zach Benson in that role. So I think that was the more encouraging part. They're continuing to set each other up for goals. And while, it remains to be seen just how high of a ceiling Josh Norris will have, at the very least, he has chemistry with the team's best forward, which I think is encouraging.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of this fan base has forgotten just how good he has been in the past. I mean, a few years ago, he had 35 goals in 66 games. He was on pace for 40 goals. And if he stays healthy this whole year, even if he plays 60, 70 games, like, he could easily recreate that. And I think we're finally getting a glimpse into what he is as a player. So it's exciting. And he's going to be on all aspects of the team. He's going to be power play. He's going to be penalty kill. He's going to be out there in key minutes for defense and winning faceoffs. So we're going to be seeing a lot of Josh Norris, and I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, I could fully agree with that. And the other thing I want to bring up when it comes to, that line when Zach Benson is out is you could see that this organization is giving Jack Quinn every single chance they can to make this work, especially now that Peterka is gone. They're going to be putting him, honestly, like, if someone goes down, and I hope not, he's going to be that first name that they're going to be like, it's time to step up, get you into this top line. So,
well, speaking of Quinn, I mean, there was a line change this in the past week or so too, with Kulik and McLeod changed, and I just wonder if part of that was because it wasn't clicking as much, especially for Quinn. So maybe they wanted to bring McLeod with Quinn to hopefully prop him up some more. Like, we were gassing up the tires of the Kulik, Doan, and Quinn line
after one game.
Because at the end of the day, it's a young and fun line. But if everybody's not, going full force, that could be that line could get caved in. So I think putting McLeod in between Quinn and Doan is probably actually the better and safer bet, because then Tuck and Zucker can help carry Kulik.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a, he's babysitting him a little bit, and it's not the worst idea in the world, I don't think. Otherwise, preseason wise, aside from the injury stuff, which has popped up in bunches, obviously we've seen some change with the goaltending in the past few days, especially over the last 24 hours. And I think the last time we spoke, we were thinking like, oh, Alex Georgiev, not too bad of a preseason. Was shut out the Columbus Blue Jackets, looked, had quite a few goals scored on him against the Red Wings, but even the advanced numbers said he was fine. Didn't finish the preseason with the best performance. In his 4 games played overall, he had a .872 save percentage and a 4.18 goals against average. And, we saw today that the team decided some change was maybe needed there, and they didn't feel the safest with him tandeming with Alex Lyon.
How quickly things could change from, the last episode we recorded and skip ahead a little bit, and it's just, it all unravels on you. It was an honor to watch him don the crest, even if it was for the preseason, but we wish him well. And
we saw a Georgiev. I mean,
we did see a Georgiev. We saw a few Georgievs.
It was more than one.
He lives up to the nickname. But I am excited for this new goaltender they brought in. He was playing out, in Springfield?
Springfield, AHL, Colton Ellis. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
0 NHL games, which is interesting. It's interesting. It's not again. It's not a knock against him. It's more so they chose somebody with zero NHL experience over Alex Georgiev. Say what you will, he hasn't been good in the NHL, but he's played in the NHL for a long time now. Yeah, it just kind of speaks to a pretty weak preseason for Georgiev. I mean, we were talking about in our last few episodes how the Sabres paid extra to bring Georgiev to the organization. You know, they didn't offer him league men; they offered him $825. They offered him that extra sum of money to ensure that he would be here because, you know, they probably knew the Luukkonen stuff was going to persist, and to this point it has. And in just a few weeks' time, they've lost that sort of confidence that they wanted to place onto Georgiev.
Yeah, and we'll see if he clears too. I mean, I would imagine he's gonna clear, and he'll probably be tending the Amherst with Levi. He'll probably be Levi's backup. So, which then sends Ratzlaff and Lennon both to Jacksonville, most likely. So it's kind of, we got a lot of goalies. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. This Holton Ellis, I got to be honest, obviously I had no idea who he was before this. I'm actually pretty excited that we picked him up. As I was looking into him, he's basically a year older Devin Levi. He's pretty much dominated, not as much as Levi, but in every area, in every league he's been in. I mean, Levi's numbers, it's really hard to compete in some of his games. I mean, he had 952 the 1 year with Northeastern. So, like, he didn't dominate that much, Ellis. But he has very similar numbers to him, especially the last 2 years. I mean, last year he had actually a better save percentage than Levi and the same amount of games started in the AHL. And the year before that, he had just about the same, which was a 922, I think. So he is basically just a year older Devin Levi. And basically the same build, too. Ellis is 6'1". Levi's 6 foot, exactly. They're both way about the same. They're both smaller, athletic. Like, it's literally just Levi a year older. And I think he's probably overdue for some NHL games. Pretty much dominated the AHL.
I would definitely say moving him in and moving Georgiev out is just a net positive for the organization as a whole. Even if it comes down to it being more of like another developmental project, if he goes down to the AHL, like friend of the show Andrew Mossbrook said when Jonah was on with him, having too many goalies in an organization isn't always a bad thing. A lot of different general managers would also say it's like it's not a problem to have if your goalie pipeline is deep. It gives you more options. But yeah, I'm definitely excited for him. I definitely think he could be a very positive asset for this team, whether it's now or it would probably be down the line. And I think he'd be good to push Levi too, a little, similar tier prospect, similar, age group type of motivation to push you,
Well, the interesting thing about this, though, is if once UPL comes back, and we really have no idea when that could be, it could be more of an extended look for Ellis. But if we were to waive him, I'm pretty sure the Blues would probably just take him back right away, just like we did with Reimer last year. So you kind of do have a dilemma. Like, if Ellis plays good here and then UPL comes back, do we do that bullshit 3 goaltenders again? Or, like, do we just get rid of him? Or do we get rid of Line? Maybe Lines doesn't start the season off good. So it is, adding him definitely adds more of a dilemma to the goaltender rotation, because with Georgiev, you knew we probably didn't have a long leash here. With Ellis, if he plays good, like, it definitely mixes some things up, even in the goaltender, like, depth situation in the entire organization.
Are you saying you don't like 3 goalies? You don't want to carry 3 goalies on the NHL roster?
When I saw they announced that we had 3 goalies to start, I was like, you gotta be kidding me, not this again. Like, I understood why they did it, and they announced it because we have so many guys in IR, and it looks like Owen Power is trending back. But I was like, please don't do this again. Like, it has never worked out for us.
Any other general takeaways from the preseason before we head into our official season preview?
I will say I just saw Sam Lafferty on the bench over there. Yeah. Respect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure listeners can hear the game going. Apologies for that if it's a little distracting, but yeah, there's Sam Lafferty in his glory.
The respect poll, they took it down.
Now's the Jeff Skinner respect poll.
That's good. Yep, that's right.
Outside of San Jose.
All right. So that'll do it for the preseason. On to more interesting stuff. The actual Buffalo Sabres opening night roster, which changed a little today from when they officially sent out the press release yesterday. But for opening night, here is your 2025-2026 Buffalo Sabres roster. Your forwards, Zach Benson, Justin Danforth, Josh Doan, Mason Geertsen, Tyson Kozak, Peyton Krebs, Yuri Kulik, Beck Malenstein, Ryan McLeod, Josh Norris, Jack Quinn, Tage Thompson, Alex Tuck, Jason Zucker, Jacob Bryson on defense, Bowen Byram, Rasmus Dahlin, Ryan Johnson, T. Samuelson, and Connor Timmins. And then in net what was initially Alex Lyon, Colton Ellis, and Alexander Georgiev is now just Alex Lyon and Colton Ellis. So the more sort of interesting part about all of that was we have quite a loaded injured reserve. Starting on injured reserve as of right now, Jordan Greenway, Michael Kesselring, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, Owen Power, and Carson Meyer. Carson Meyer is also he made his way onto an NHL opening night roster. Good for him.
Yeah, put some respect on his name. He's also on IR right now.
Yeah. But yeah, there you have it. And I think the immediate takeaways has to be the injuries. Now, Alex Georgiev getting waived, I think, is a good sign for Thursday for Owen Power. But I think the fact that he was put on IR is still like they're being careful with him.
Mm-hmm.
They do not want to upset that knee, especially week 1 of the season. So, yeah. Interesting opening night roster. Probably not one that we thought was going. Not for the most part. Like, there's a lot of stuff in there that I don't think we expected walking into training camp. Mason Geertsen is on this roster. Colton Ellis is going to be your backup goalie to start the year. Just crazy stuff.
Yeah, the whole second pair we were raving about all off season might not even make an appearance.
Won't see night 1, yeah.
You're not going to see Kesselring, which is the one I'm most upset about because I think he can make a really good impact into this roster immediately. So I don't want them to rush him back, but definitely hurt hearing that he was fighting through injury during the preseason. And yeah, you might be looking at a second pair of Timmins and Samuelson.
Hey, you mentioned Samuelson. Samuelson came back a week. We talked pretty bad on him.
We tore into him last week.
It did sound serious.
He was week to week. I don't even think he was skating. And then suddenly this week, yesterday he's in a no contact jersey. Today he's in a regular jersey, so it looks like he's good to go.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the interesting part. I mean, yeah, we tore into him, and it looks like he'll play opening night, which is good. We want him to be healthy.
Yes, yeah,
of course. Yeah, I think the one you might not see for a while. And am I wrong? Didn't I bring this up last episode about like how week to week could turn really quickly into like a month to month? Did I say that about UPL? Because I think whatever he's fighting right now, I think it's going to be more long term. So,
well, here's the interesting thing: he suited up for the first Penguins game, played the whole first period, and then left in the second and didn't return.
And he was supposed to play 2 periods. Lindy said before the game he was going to play 2.
So immediately, sirens are going off, but like, uh-oh. And the interesting part is that it was something different. Lindy said it was a different injury. It wasn't the thing that had been nagging him. He got something else. I don't even think anybody was able to pinpoint exactly what it was because we don't know what it is. We weren't told.
You're never told in this league.
There was already some uncertainty about like what, because he was day to day. Now he's listed as week to week, but even when he was day to day, there was some uncertainty because Kevin Adams had gone a little bit into detail about what the injury was. And, it was like a positional thing. Like he only felt it in very specific moments. And this looks to be something worse. And I think, like, hearing what Elliot Friedman had to say today, both on 32 Thoughts and in the written 32 Thoughts, Like, it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound bad. It just doesn't sound like they don't know.
There's no reassurance anywhere.
And it's worrying. You know, he's a big part of this roster, whether you want to believe it or not. Like, this is supposed to be your starting goaltender for 40 to 50 games. Alex Lyon and Colton Ellis is not supposed to be the tandem that gets you into the playoffs.
But it just might work.
But it just might work.
No, I need UPL back healthy as soon as possible to help this roster. But man, it sucks. You know, I feel like he's just been battling injuries throughout his whole career. Just it's always been something. Double hip surgery when he was still a prospect, and you know, you didn't think he might not have been the same goalie afterwards, and then he makes it all the way to the big leagues and he becomes the starting goalie and kind of falls off a little bit, and again he's fighting injuries. It just, you know, it sucks for him. It really does. I hate it, but I'm at a loss. I'm kind of just at a loss for words at this point with him.
It makes me think about Levi too, because if Lions and if Ellis, for whatever reason, aren't working out the best, I would not be surprised if Kevin Adams were to bring up Levi again. And I'm not.
Well, that's the interesting part. I don't know if they're going to do that.
Well, I don't think they don't want to. They want him to be in the AHL this whole year. But if stuff isn't going well, they're going to make a quick decision and probably bring him up, whether that's for the best for him or not. Like, I just wouldn't be surprised. So we'll see what happens there. Like, hopefully Lions and Ellis can hold their own for the time being until UPL is healthy, and hopefully then UPL is playing good. But I would not be surprised if Levi is up here at some point because of this.
And as Christian makes some wing deliveries, also got some food. Don't want to make too much of a mess. You know, JP's got his new computer here.
That's right.
We do not want to ruin that.
I already said I was wiping blue cheese on his desk, on his keyboard.
Wingnuts is top-notch stuff. Tony, we were talking about anybody that was on the draft live stream. We spent a lot of time talking about wings, funny enough, because it was 3.5 hours of the worst NHL draft to watch of all time.
Yep.
Boring.
Very boring, so the conversation inevitably got there. So yeah, the Luukkonen stuff is just so...
It's concerning.
You can't say it's not concerning. It's very worrying. You know, we talked a lot about, like, Alex Lyon is someone I can trust for a month, maybe 2. Like, maybe even 3. But I can't trust him. You know, if he's the starting goalie now, I don't know if I can trust him into January, into February, into March, into April. It's not the guy he is. You know, I think he has a chance to make that work. But, you know, that's just classic goalie voodoo stuff. You know, he put together a pretty good season with the Red Wings 2 years ago, where he was mostly their starter. Like, he can do it. But he's just better. He's better as a 1B, and I would have felt a lot better with him as, you know, he gets 38 or so games and Luukkonen gets the other 40 plus. It's very worrying. I mean, like, there's stuff to be excited about with Colton Ellis. There is. The AHL track record is very good. But you know who else he also kind of reminds me of? Much younger, but kind of gives me Eric Comrie vibes, just a little bit. It's just purely like, and I mean it in the sense AHL good AHL statistics do not compute automatically to good NHL results. And you know, Devin Levi is a perfect example of that. So to have that as your tandem opening night, like, you know, you've seen a lot of models be very high on the Sabres, a lot. Like, not just 1 or 2, like a lot.
It's actually insane.
It's very insane.
It's crazy.
But, you know, that I would assume that changes with Colton Ellis thrown into the mix and with Alex Lyon potentially getting 50 games. So,
well, yeah. And without the other injuries too.
Exactly, yeah, that as well. I mean, no Michael Kesselring.
He's the only one who isn't practicing, right? Like, at least Greenway's skating right now. So he'll probably be back, I don't know, in a week or 2, hopefully. Oh, Power was practicing today in non-contact. He'll probably be good for Thursday, if not Saturday. But Kesselring, I don't think, has been skating at all, and obviously UPL hasn't. So you're basically your biggest offseason addition, and then your starting goaltender aren't starting the season with your team. So that definitely definitely affects any projections. There was one projection today that had us in 8th, and there were some people in the comments disputing it. And he was like, there's too many injuries right now for their team. And it's like, it's completely valid. I mean, you can't dispute that if any of these injuries persist to our key players. I mean, it's 3 of our top players right there with Power, Kesselring, and Luukkonen. Like, it's going to have some effects. And you definitely want to start the season hot, and this definitely does not help. As Jonah and Christian start to dig
You're getting a
into
little
that lane
hungry over here,
and
guys.
get another.
Keep going. You're doing great.
Yeah, you're doing great, JP. Keep talking.
I mean, look, you might look back on this season and be like, it's the thing that maybe prevented them from getting into the playoffs. Like who knows? Who knows? So, I hope we learn more about the Luukkonen thing. And, obviously I hope, he gets back to health. I don't think they can do this without him. Like, I really don't. I know Luukkonen had a tough season last year, but it wasn't tough enough to like I said, I just don't think they can get through this season they can't get to the playoffs without him. I just don't think they can do it if it's barring a phenomenal season from Alex Lyon, Colin Ellis being a quality NHL backup. And maybe they do eventually hand things over to Devin Levi. Like if the goaltending gets bad enough, if Luukkonen's out long term, and it gets bad enough to the point where like they just can't continue with that tandem, then yeah, they're gonna try stuff with Levi. They're gonna try to get him. They're just gonna give him the reins maybe and just see where he can take them. So, I mean, look, we might be in for a circus at goaltender, which is not fun, but you gotta.
We've done this for the past like 5 years.
Yeah, we're no stranger to this kind of stuff.
PL's one big year. It's been a circus. So, surprise, surprise.
James Reimer he's out there now.
He's back.
He was released from his PTO, so he was your starting goaltender at the end of last year. Is this like if Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen does not play 40 games for this team, do they miss the playoffs? Straight up. Like, is there like a bar?
I think the thing is, with how crazy goaltending is across this league, I don't think it's insane to say that if he's out for like a couple months to start the season, that it's over. But to answer your question, no, I think they could still make the playoffs, even with him out.
He didn't play good last year.
Exactly. Like, he was not a net positive for this team last year. He really did. He did not help us in any sense of the imagination down the stretch. I'm excited to see more of Alex Lyon, to be honest with you. Like, I want Luukkonen to get back. I want him to be healthy. But it doesn't faze me as much as like a Michael Kesselring being out or an Owen Power being out. And even maybe like Jordan Greenway to an extent with what he brings to the game. But I think just with the fact of how crazy goaltending is across this league, it's almost like, you're just rolling the dice. It's just a gamble. It's like, it's not just, oh, here we go. This guy's, not going to be good. Alex Lyon has a track record in this league. It could work out well for this team. I'm not saying it's going to, but I don't think the amount of games Luukkonen plays is going to affect whether or not they make the playoffs on a major aspect.
It is pretty funny. You could see where this team is at and where our goaltending situation is at. That Christian said he's excited for Alex Lyon. Like, that's no disrespect to him, and I don't mean anything against Christian, but like, for most teams, he's a backup. But we're excited to see him play some more games, which, I mean, that's what we're stuck with. So I hope we are excited with him. But
he pushed the Florida Panthers into the playoffs a few years ago.
I agree.
He's a cult hero. I mean, for anybody that doesn't know, I did a little Sabres season preview with the guys over at the Cats and Rats podcast, who are obviously a Florida Panthers podcast, and he's a cult hero over there. They obviously love him. I mean, he propelled that team into what they are now. They could not have gotten in without him. And it just wasn't he got hot at the right time, but he was also good for them the whole season. And Bobrovsky, he wasn't hurt at that point. I think Lyon just took the job from him.
Yeah.
He just started outperforming him. And, it faded in the playoffs. But, I mean, look, Alex Lyon has that potential. And that's why, like, I'm not like I feel infinitely worse about, like, Michael Kesselring, even missing, like, the first week of the season than I do about their goaltending situation going in. Now, that's part of, the goaltending. Goaltending is volatile. Shocker. and random stuff happens at the position. But like I said, Alex Lyon has also proven at multiple points in his career that he can fill that role. So that's why, like, I'm breathing somewhat easy as of right now.
I think you also hope that this team finally takes a step defensively. Like, they've been talking about that for years.
Yeah. Give their goalie some help.
They prioritized it this offseason with Doan and Kesselring. So hopefully that actually translates and we could actually help the goalie out and not just leaving him out to dry like we do most of the time.
All right. I think we've litigated enough of the goalie conversation. How about the defense then? So, Kesselring being out to start the season, it stinks. The injury he acquired was something that, according to Lindy Ruff, was something he had been dealing with through camp to that point, and he had just aggravated it in one of the preseason games. It doesn't seem like a long-term thing. Like maybe, hopefully, he just misses a week of games or so. How important is it that Michael Kesselring steps in to be a top 4 defenseman?
I think it's extremely important. Who has Owen Power played with that's had anywhere close to a pedigree as Michael Kesselring has had in this league?
Probably just Rasmus Dahlin.
Probably, yeah. But you don't want him playing with Rasmus Dahlin. I mean, they're both the same hand, but, it's better to spread the wealth around the lineup and have Owen Power be kind of like the horse of his own pair. And for the longest time, he was playing with, Yoki Haru, rotate in another bottom 6 defenseman.
Just stop right there.
I know.
It was just Yoki Haru.
But this is the guy we were all extremely excited about and had high expectations for. And I think just seeing him in the preseason, big right shot defenseman, just seeing him in the preseason, it makes you want to see him there opening night that much more. He's made that impact in a small sense already, even if it is just the preseason. So I really hope it's not too many games because I think he's going to be more of a horse for this team than, maybe some people do think.
And I think throughout our division preview, we talked up this defense a lot because it is that good. Even when Jonah was on that podcast with the Panthers, they were saying this could be the best D-core in the Atlantic. The issue is you get 1 injury, 2 injuries, it does not look good. I mean, those pairs that came out earlier this week because Power and Kesselring weren't practicing almost like made me pass out at work. We Tyson Kozak on the 3rd pair, and then we had Mason Geertsen. No, Mason Geertsen was with someone else, but you 2 forwards playing defense. Like, I was like, oh my God, like, are we going into opening night with Tyson Kozak?
Oh yeah, it's like another one of those things with like the models. Like, the models are great, but like if it changes if Mason Geertsen's playing defense.
Yeah,
right.
So it's like, I think the bad thing about Kesselring being out too is just you're pushing your depth. Like you're right now with him out, like Ryan Johnson's probably going to be the next guy up, and he's going to get his chance. And they've been talking it up. He's been playing good, but it's just not our projected 6. I mean, even if Power isn't feeling good, then it's Johnson and Bryson. Like it's just this defense was supposed to be a strong suit, and if we have any sort of injuries, it could turn into our downfall because Connor Timmins was already being moved up and down the lineup for injury. Like he was with Dahlin that practice where Kozak and Geertsen were playing defense. Timmins was with Dahlin, and then Byram was with I think Samuelson, and we already know how Byram is without Samuelson. So it's just gonna push.
You mean without Dahlin?
Yeah, I mean without Dahlin, so it's just gonna push our depth, and it's not exactly something you want to get to.
Well, and you said how, or we've talked plenty, and it's not just us; it's literally everybody. Bowen Byram is back on this team because he works well with one guy. When you're 1 injury down, kind of 2, and now he's with another person, and that is not the situation. You want this to work. You need your defensive core to work perfect because if Bowen Byram's not with Rasmus Dahlin, that makes your defensive core worse. It just does. Like, he can only play with one guy, and it's a very flawed thing. But if he plays with that one guy, it's fine. The core works. It looks good on paper. If he's on his own pair for a prolonged period of time because of injuries, then the defense becomes worse. And then if defense is worse, then inversely, the goaltending has a much tougher job on a weekly basis. I know it's, and like we saw at the end of last season, talking about injuries. If Owen Power misses any significant time, or, especially, I mean, if Rasmus Dahlin goes down for any more than 10 games, you're done.
Any more than 5 games.
They did not win a game without Rasmus Dahlin playing. They won one game when Owen Power went down. It's, they are arguably the two most important pieces on the team.
Rasmus Dahlin is legitimately the engine of this entire franchise. And if he goes down for, more than 3, I would say more than 4 games, if he's out over a stretch, like the car's breaking down and you're not going anywhere. We saw that last year. We had plenty of crash outs over not the fact that he wasn't playing, but the fact that we were on a 12-game losing streak in the middle of December.
Power's already fighting something. Kesselring's already fighting something. Samuelson just got back from an injury, so he's probably also fighting something. Like, if Samuelson were to be out for just a game too, like, it's not going to look good. It's basically going to be Rasmus Dahlin and then 5 other defensemen. We're all respectable in Byram, but it'll be Dahlin and 5 others.
And one thing that we didn't talk about last episode, or we talked about it last episode, but we did not think it was going to happen. A, because we didn't fully understand the rules, and B, we just did not think it was going to happen. And something that I didn't even get to talk about with Andrew Mossbrooks in our Amherst season preview episode because of the same reasons. We did not think it was going to happen. Radim Mertka is going to start the season with Rochester. He's starting the season with the Amherst. He got sent down there for their final roster cuts. Before we even talk about the implications of that for the Amherst, how important how connected to the fact that they have 2 NHL right-handed defensemen? Am I the only one that thinks the fact that Kesselring and Timmins are their only NHL caliber right-hand defensemen is a part of the reason they kept Mertka close to the NHL? I'm not saying he's the first call-up. I'm not saying he's projected to be help there should things go awry. But I don't know. I talked about, for example, during the prospect pyramid. Every time I talk about Vsevolod Komarov, I've always said, like, his best ally is he is the closest right-hand defenseman aside from maybe Zach Metza to the organization. And, well, that might have just changed. It might be Mertka. Who knows? It's probably still Metza. But, yeah, I mean, it kind of goes back to the Bernard Docker thing, which we don't need to relitigate. But it's very interesting. I really hope they don't, but I do wonder if Mertka gets games at some point. If both Kesselring and Timmins, let's say, Kesselring doesn't play for the next week. Let's say game 1, Connor Timmins blocks a shot and needs a game off. Is it the craziest thing to imagine? They probably don't call up Mertka right away, but who do they call up? Who's their next right-handed guy?
It'll be Komarov. I think they'll call him up. Yeah. And I know he can't skate, but I think it's just the next best thing at that point.
Is. Or you're icing the 05-06 defensive core where everybody's left-handed. You're just gonna have Dahlin, Samuelson, Ryan Johnson, Zach Jones, Jacob Bryson. You're just gonna have everybody all at once.
But for Mertka too, he was the defenseman who got the longest leash too with the AHL. He was up the longest. He played with Owen Power for a game, so it's not crazy that you're talking about this.
Yeah, which
it's not a good idea at all.
I don't.
It's not.
It's not worth it. I know I think he's ahead of where we thought he would be, but he's not that ahead. He should not. You cannot have your.
No, you shouldn't be sniffing NHL games.
This was supposed to be the season your defense has come together, and if 2 injuries ends up putting an 18-year-old rookie, or I think Komarov's 21-ish or 22, if that's your plan, it's when a few months earlier you had a perfectly serviceable third pair defenseman in Jacob Bernard Docker, it just makes not a lot of sense.
It's just the nature of the game, man. People get hurt. Plans change. It's you wish everything was always so perfect in a vacuum, and then life hits you. go down 3 guys on the back end, and then you're just scrambling. I don't think it'd be the worst thing in the world, if in case of an absolute emergency, one of these guys has to come up, but it cannot be long term by any stretch of the imagination.
I mean, unfortunately, it's going to be Mason Geertsen who would go back on defense before any of these other guys. I mean,
Also
it's not
left-handed,
ridiculous.
though. Like, that's the
Yeah,
thing.
that's true. I don't know.
All right. Well, we spent enough time kind of questioning the defense. Let's question the one part that we really don't have to. Rasmus Dahlin, who I think has been the MVP of this roster for probably 3 seasons now, maybe 4. Do we think? I think he's a top 3 defenseman in the world. I think if you go over the last 3 seasons, he might be the best defenseman in hockey. So we're not going to have to debate. We don't have to pump his tires at all. What does his path to a Norris Trophy look like for this to finally be the year? How about that he's a friggin' finalist? Because he should have been a finalist this past season, but you understand the team struggled. The previous years, kind of same thing. But 2 years ago, like he finished 8th in a year where he probably should have won the trophy. What does it take for a team, for the media, for him to finally get the respect he deserves?
I think it starts with team success, to be honest with you. It's the one thing I see all the time is the reason why he's not in Norris conversations is because, he plays in Buffalo. He plays in Buffalo. They're always losing. They're not making the playoffs. They're not doing anything important, which really does suck because those things shouldn't be. Is the word mutually exclusive?
I believe it is.
I think. Correct. I know someone smarter than me will correct me on that. But those things shouldn't be. It shouldn't be you have to have team success for a player to win an individual award. I know it helps because you probably score more goals, you probably have better defensive stats. But yeah, it's going to come down to getting this team in the national spotlight more often, and him. It's easy for him because he's already the star, the cornerstone. He's going to be the face of the franchise if this team makes the playoffs. He's going to be everywhere. But it's an unfortunate circumstance that it has to happen this way, but it comes down to the team needs to be successful. They need to make the playoffs for him to have more of a chance of getting into that, Makar tier. I hate to even call it that because, of course, Cale Makar is a great defenseman, but it's like we getting voter fatigue or anything. You see it like we're watching the New York Rangers play the Pittsburgh Penguins right now. Adam Fox is one of the most. Not only is he one of the best defensemen in the world, he's unfortunately now he's underrated because the Rangers were,
I really
they were
not to jump ahead to like our NHL hot takes that we usually do in this episode every year, but I really like him as like a Norris underdog. He had Ryan, he's played the most amount of time with Ryan Lindgren his career. You know who his partner is now? It's actually I don't know how they're lining up in camp, but it could be Vladislav Gavrikov, like one of the best shutdown defensemen in hockey.
Another defenseman who absolutely carries his pair.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, you're right. It's frustrating year in year out to see that. I mean, you look at the Sabres record without him last season.
What, like 0-12-3 or something?
I think they were 0. What are they? 0-8 or no 0-10 without him.
He missed 9 games.
So they were 0-9. I think with Power they were like 0-12 until they won the last game. You could argue he should get hard votes because he is just that important to the fabric of the team. And I think you're absolutely right. Like, unless your name's Erik Karlsson, you're not winning trophies without making the playoffs.
Right.
Unless you score 100 points. But points sell. And if Rasmus Dahlin, I think if he wants to win the Norris Trophy, he's going to have to score more. And what's the easiest way to rack up points as a defenseman?
Power play.
I believe it would be the power play. So the power play has to be much improved as well.
It all comes back to one thing. It's the power play. The power play needs to be good for this team to have success this year. And that's a very scary thing because it didn't look the best, and it looked okay in the preseason, against the preseason, but it cannot be in any world as bad as it was last year because that was probably the main reason they weren't even vying for a playoff spot by the time end of March rolled around.
I also want to quickly mention for Dahlin, if he plays the full 82 games, like he's going to be a finalist. He does need to stay healthy too. Not that he's had injury concerns, but like 2 years ago, he was fighting through an injury for probably like 20 games. So he was still playing, but he wasn't putting up as many points because he wasn't fully healthy. So if he stays a full healthy 82 games, he's going to be a finalist. And if we're at least in the playoff hunt, he'll be a finalist.
All right, forwards. So there's a lot of stuff baked into this forward group. You know, the JJ Peterka absence, I don't think was directly filled. The Dylan Cousins trade still looms large because you got 3 games of his replacement last year. You know, this team was, I think, 4th or 5th in 5v5 goals last season. Are they going to be able to score goals easily, as easy as they've done again? Are they going to be able to stay there, or is losing their second best goal scorer, a player in Cousins who scored a lot of goals, despite maybe not carrying play the best? Is there concern to be had with the forward group heading in overall?
I'm going to say no, just because you hope Cooley develops.
Count it.
Hopefully he is.
Hope.
Oh, damn it. Can't do the thing.
Can't reach the ball.
That's my bad. Kulik, Quinn, and at the end of the day, Josh Norris. I mean, you want them to replace what he brings. Now, I will say, I think our 5v5 scoring will decrease a little just because Peterka was so good at 5-on-5. But there's a trade-off because Peterka was not good on the power play.
Yes.
So I think your power play is going to get better, which will basically make up for those goals. So as long as you have some good seasons out of those 3 players, and even that, I'll even throw Benson in there. If he could start scoring, like, we should be good. But at the end of the day, all I basically talked about was the word we, have agreed to not say as much on the podcast anymore. It's just basically a hope. Like, I hope that all happens. Boom, boom.
That's 2.
That's 2.
Yep,
Yeah.
2.
Mark another one. I don't think I'm kind of in the same school of thought as JP is. I don't think losing a JJ Peterka benefits your team in any sort of way. I do think adding a Josh Doan and a Michael Kessering for that is a good trade. A lot of people would say that the Sabres wouldn't win that trade in the short term, which I could also agree with. But yeah, JJ Peterka, I'll tell you what, he was not helping this team on the power play in any stretch of the imagination. Like, I feel like the guy couldn't take a one-timer shot to save his life. And yes, he was very good at scoring at 5v5, but I think that could be made up for in different ways on this forward lineup. We saw a little bit of a flash of Josh Doan in the preseason. Very excited for him. But I think I'm past the whole JJ Peterka saga and the trade. He obviously didn't want to be here, and I feel at a certain point we should just, stop talking about it because he didn't want to be here, so why give him the time of day at a certain point?
I think what will definitely get worse and definitely look different is our rush offense, because that was Peterka's and Cousins basically bread and butter. Like, that's what they were very good at. And I think they just want to get away from just being a rush offense team.
I think that's a good point. Josh Norris is certainly not a burner. He's not slow, but he's not what Dylan Cousins was, even though I did think Dylan Cousins slowed down over time. And Peterka, yeah, I mean, that was his whole thing. The guy scored goals off the rush seemingly every single time he put the puck in the nets. And Josh Doan's not a burner in that same sense. He's definitely a player that's going to find himself around the net a lot more.
Don't you think a lot of the rush offense we had last year kind of led into this team's struggles? Because
I mean, that's what they've been doing for so long. I mean,
I know, but they
they ride the wave,
right.
They,
But I think that's part of the problem. They ride this wave. I mean, this wave hasn't really taken them anywhere.
Well, and it's also, it's
I think it's also played into a lot of their goals against. They're on the rush. They get down there. A missed shot could go right back the other way, and then the other team gets a scoring chance off the rush.
well, the league has sort of shifted a lot. 2022, 2023 was just an insane season for the league. Like, I don't think we're going to see a year like that for a while. I mean, how many 50-goal scorers were there last year? Was there 2? Wasn't it just Draisaitl and what did McKinnon get there? Like 22, 23, there were an absurd amount. And it's not to say like there's not still high scores. Nikita Kucherov had 120 points, but like 2022-23 wasn't that the year McDavid got like 150? Like the league was going through this huge shift once Seattle got into the league. Rush offense was a huge. It was still a huge part of the game. It wasn't just the Sabres. I think the Sabres were like the best example of it. But like New Jersey Devils had a 111-point season, with Lindy Ruff, and I think we know it's a copycat league. And who's won the Stanley Cup the past 2 years and made it to the final the year before? It's the Florida Panthers. And it's not that they can't play a rush style, but they're known for their forechecking. They're known for being just hounding the puck in the zone. And I think the league has just taken a forechecking. It's taken a huge step in the forechecking direction. And I think it's why you're seeing maybe not as much explosive offense as compared to maybe a few years ago. And the Sabres were, they were stuck in that in 2023-24 with Grano. They were still kind of trying to run the same offense, even though they made some changes that season. But they had the same core trying to change their game to a forechecking game. And then last season, it was kind of the same. Yeah, they made some changes and added a new bottom 6. But the main piece is, Dylan Cousins and JJ Peterka were still huge rush players. And I think you're looking at a team this season, and the construction started last year with that bottom 6. I think the team has clearly wanted to shift more into a dump and chase. Like 3 years ago, they didn't have a dump and chase ability. They literally did not. Like when Zach Benson, I think part of the reason Zach Benson made the team 2 years ago was the fact that from day one, he was maybe their best forechecker. They didn't have a guy that was good at it. Everybody sort of played the same way. And, I wouldn't be surprised if that's an underrated reason of why models are weirdly higher on them, is that they're a much more diverse and, I guess, like flexible team. Like they can play the style that the league is trying to move in.
But they could also play the rush offense style.
You still have Tage Thompson, you still have Alex Tuck, you still have Owen Power and Rasmus Dahlin, and you still have like Yuri Kulik's a big rush player. But now you have the Josh Stones. Now you have, once Jordan Greenway's healthy, Peyton Krebs has turned into a forechecking player. Josh Norris is a great forechecking player. So that's what I think the team wants to move to. And if maybe they score less goals this season, honestly, they probably will at 5-on-5, like JP said. I mean, JJ Peterka had the highest shooting percentage at 5v5 of all time last year, or since stat tracking started in 2007, 2008. I mean, that's absurd. Like the highest ever. And, taking him out of the lineup outright, it's not like it's gonna just cancel him out. But, that was an absurd mark to live up to. And I think, like you said, like they gave up so much just to get a goal here and there. And, I think this roster, the way it's built and the way they want to play and the way they've spoken about it, and I think the way that we've known that they've, even after the 22-23 season, like that team could not play defense, and that turned into not being able to get a save. You knew they had to change their style at some point. They had to become a more their offense had to evolve. And to this point, it just really hasn't. And I think with this roster, that's what they want to do more of.
I also think for the first time, I don't know, maybe in this drought, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we have 3 lines that can score and 3 lines that can actually push the pace of play. Like throughout the drought, it was We had a really good fourth line and a really good first line. And then,
Nothing in between.
yeah. I mean, that's for the most part, that's what it's been. Last year, you could kind of say we had a good top six, but then after that, I mean, our bottom six didn't work out as we wanted. I think you have three lines that can put up some points here. And I think that definitely helps. I mean, you got Quinn right now, you got Quinn, McLeod, and Doan as your third line. Like, I think that's a pretty damn good third line. So if you can score up and down the lineup too, that's going to help even more with Peterka leaving.
I think the top six still has room to be desired, and I mean, the biggest question about this team, it's still like this team is still so many what ifs. I know I feel good about a lot of them. I think Zach Benson is going to break out this season. He's going to be given the opportunity to. There's maybe never been a player for the Sabres in the past 5 or so years besides Rasmus Dahlin. And even Rasmus Dahlin went through periods where I didn't believe in this. Like Zach Benson, there might not be a player I trust more that is just consistently going to be reliable. And now it's just about breaking open the offense. But that's still a what if. And what is a breakout? Is it 40 points or is it 55 to maybe 60? Depending on the usage he gets on more than just 5-on-5. And the biggest what if on this team is going to be Josh Norris. This guy will decide whether or not this team has a good center core. And we've talked a lot about the center core because on paper, it does not look good. And that's because of who they have lined up as their first line center. And for a large part of the season, of the offseason, it was Yuri Kulik. And I love Kulik. And we all love Kulik. But being in a second line role, as opposed to being in that top line, is a situation that's much better. You can have Alex Tuck and Jason Zucker sort of babysit him a little bit, or just be reliable wingers. But at the end of the day, like that, Ryan McLeod, I think, is like the best third line center in hockey. And Kulik, I think, could be a serviceable second line center as a 21-year-old in his sophomore season. But it doesn't matter if your top line center isn't a top line center. And Josh Norris kind of has to be that. But I when I was thinking of like a comparable for Norris, can he be not Hampus? Can he be Elias Lindholm for me? Like Flames Elias Lindholm? And I guess more specifically 21-22 Elias Lindholm is like the best case scenario where, listen, Josh Norris, if you throw Josh Norris with Alex Tuck and Jason Zucker, like he's not going to be a 70, 80 point player. But if he plays with Tage Thompson and he plays with Zach Benson, can he elevate his game? Can he keep up with those two, for example? Elias Lindholm in Calgary, all you had to do was keep up with Johnny Gaudreau and Matt Tkachuk. And it worked. And it worked great. And we've seen, in the years following, he doesn't do so well on his own and has had, some turmoil. And even these days, like he's not the greatest player in the world with like David Pastrnak. But like that's my comparable. I don't need Josh Norris to be this 40-goal Selke level first line center. Can he just be reliable? Can he be a 60-point guy that pots 25 to 30 goals, plays responsible defense, and can keep up with Tage Thompson and whoever he's slotted with on the left wing? I hope that's my ask from him.
Yeah, I don't think that's too big of an ask for a player that I think we all have high expectations for.
Okay. As for the third line, we'll start with Josh Stone, who I think everybody's quickly falling in love with. Just seems like a high character guy that plays a brand of hockey that is just very easy to find yourself liking. Very similar to Zach Benson, but maybe even a step above that for a lot of people. What does his season look like? Do you think he can find his way into the top six eventually this season? And not just like, yeah, he's going to get some looks in the top six most likely, but is he a guy that can break out? His career high to this point is like 20-something points. He's not gotten a lot of time. He hasn't gotten a lot of expanded opportunity with Arizona and with Utah. Last season he was primarily on the fourth line. Got some power play looks, but was someone that mostly spent his time on the fourth line. And I think his career high to this point was looks like less than 20.
19.
19 points. A great Josh Jones season, I think, it's a key part of this forward group working out. And it's on both ends of the ice. I think what makes him what makes his play style so attractive is that he is very good in his own zone. But I think that offensive output needs to be there if they're able to get success from their bottom six. And I think he has to be flirting with 40 points.
I think Josh Doan is an interesting player. It is crazy how, he gets here and everybody immediately really likes this guy, even though he has not cracked 20 points yet. But yeah, playing in those sheltered minutes on bottom pair lines will do that. I don't think it's absolutely imperative for him to be, this sort of horse for the bottom six immediately. I think it'll be more of like a team effort with that. I think it'll be a lot of guys feeding off of each other. It'll be a group lift and a group effort in that bottom part of the roster. And I was one of the ones who last episode was talking very highly of him. But I think we still need to keep our expectations, curbed just a little bit. He's still very young. A lot of these guys are still very young, and I know a lot of people hate to hear that because it's been so long. Still the second youngest team in the league, 26.2, I think. A lot of these guys are still very young. It's tough to put such high expectations on them out of the gate, but it'd be nice, be nice to see him get a little, 40-point season, start his career off, make a name for himself here. I think this season's going to be really big for a number of reasons, and I think he's going to play a part in it. And I hope he blows my expectations out of the water. But as far as to where we are right now, I think everything needs to be more of a manageable look for him.
Yeah, I'm very excited to watch him play. I'm just asking for 30 points. I hope he unlocks something. I hope he really works out well. Hopefully just on that third line for most of the year. Like, I like him. I don't know if you want to push him up in the top six unless he really does unlock his offensive side of the game. I think if he were to get closer to that 40-point range, is if our power play was finally good this year, because he's already being slotted in on the second unit. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe he could get quite a few power play points, but I'm hoping Ryan McLeod can help him unlock something. And I think a McLeod and Doan pairing is going to be incredible for both ends of the ice. I mean, forechecking, and especially in the defensive zone. Like, I think I like those two together a lot, and I hope those two can really propel up Quinn or maybe shelter Quinn.
Well, we talked a bit about him in the preseason, or about him in this past preseason, and I think it left something to be desired. But Jack Quinn, you can make your case that Josh Doan he's going to be a part of that, but it seems like if they want to replace the scoring that JJ Peterka left behind, they're going to rely upon Jack Quinn to replace those goals. And we've heard a lot about how he's been in the gym this summer. Lindy Ruff was getting texts from him, lifting weights in the weight room. And how much of this season do you think hinges on him being a playable, reliable player? You look at last season, from a distance, somebody might say, wow, he had 40 points. Well, it was one of the ugliest 40-point seasons you'll see. And a lot of that was he was getting looks on power play 1 at points last season, which was like the only time he actually looked playable when there was less players playing for the other team. How crucial is he to this team being able to to the forward group being able to succeed?
If he's playing in the bottom six, I mean, I don't think it's as important, but we touched on it earlier in the episode. If someone goes down with an injury, I think he's going to be the first guy that they put up there because they have high expectations for this guy. And if he's in that role, he needs to perform, and it needs to be it needs to be in a situation where it doesn't look as ugly as it does on paper as it did last year. You know, he's got to be just a better all around player. And it's funny because before last season, I don't think I've ever in my entire life heard of like a player getting 40 points and people complaining about it and being like, yeah, he got 40 points, but it looked like garbage. You know, he was kind of just like you know, a merchant of whoever's line he was on at the time. Or did he get, how many empty net goals did he? He didn't really get many.
I don't think he got many. He got one or two.
Yeah, he got a couple empty net goals here and there.
And he got hot at the end of the season.
And garbage time, he got hot.
Well, I mean, garbage time
For the season.
But like,
yeah.
you know, there was that 2-week stretch where he had like 8 points in 4 games, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, is he back?" And he was not back. He just was shooting at an extremely high clip.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you want to see our offense unlock something, it will lie in Jack Quinn's hands. If we get the player that Jack Quinn was in the 22-23 season, I think your offense isn't skipping a beat with Peterka out. So I think that's what you're hoping. Even that 22-23 season, he was good defensively too. So if we see Jack Quinn play at his peak and at what we know he can do, it's going to unlock a lot for this offense. But like we said, hasn't done much in the preseason.
So other than that, I don't think there's too many questions surrounding the forward group. I think Justin Danforth is an intriguing option for the bottom line. Jordan Greenway, we know what he can be when he's healthy. I guess the interesting thing is going to be, do they see him as a fourth line player for the most part? We've talked about it at some points. If he's a fourth line player, he's an extremely expensive one. So that'll be interesting to see. But as for the coaching, I think one thing a lot of people aren't talking about is that this is Lindy Ruff's last season on his deal. If this were any other team, he'd probably be labeled as a lame duck head coach. I believe he's the only coach in the league without an extension in place. He's the last coach in the league with an expiring deal. It's weird in the sense nobody's really talking about it.
It is a little strange, there really hasn't been much conversation about it.
Nobody's even talked about what's past this season.
Right.
There's no like, they'll get to it eventually, or they've had preliminary stuff like this. This kind of seems like it no matter what, which I think we guessed when he first got hired and we heard about the contract, but it's kind of like, their coach doesn't have a deal in place, and his successor might be sitting next to him, and
boy, here we go.
Look, we make the Seth Apper jokes, but it is a big season for him. We make the jokes, but this is probably the guy they want to hire as the next head coach. Maybe not so much anymore. We don't know what Kevin Adams' long-term outlook is in the organization. I mean, if this season goes awry, it can only be assumed that he's let go, because he also
doesn't have a deal in place.
He also does not have a deal in place. So, who knows what Jarmo Kekalainen, who he would bring in as GM. But if Seth Apper wants an NHL coaching job, he's going to have to do some stuff with the power play this year. His forwards are going to have to score goals. So, yeah, it's a big season for that entire staff. And, we talked about Mike Bales. I mean, Mike Bales has a really bad resume with the Buffalo Sabres. He has basically one season of great NHL goaltending. Everything else has just been a disaster. And he's been in the organization this is going to be his 6th season, I believe. Marty Wilford, he survived the Granado firings, and, he's in charge of the PK, which sort of took a step back a bit last season, and the defense has had issues for years. So everybody's, I think, on expiring contracts from what we've heard, and it's just going to be very intriguing to see how a coaching staff with that looming juggles everything. But, it's their 2nd season together. We made our hay about Lindy Ruff not getting the chance to hire people when he was first brought in, and that's still an issue. But now, he was asked at the beginning of camp about, why he didn't maybe bring anybody else on, and he basically said, we're a year in. Like, you'd be recycling the process. You'd be starting from step 1 and bringing in a new staff and having to get all on the same page when he spent the whole last year with this group of guys. So this is their crew, and you can only hope that you can dang. You can only wish that the group gels a lot more in their second year together.
If this is his very last year as a head coach in the league, if he's not going to get extended, make it a good year for him. How about that? Like breaking the drought for Lindy, with Lindy as their coach, I think would be massive for the organization, and it would be a good, changing of direction of the team if we were to go to Lindy to Seth next year or whichever head coach we have next year. But I'm under the assumption that this might be Lindy's last year, so let's send him off with a good year.
Okay. The fun part. So, hot takes going into next season. These are always fun, and they're always wrong. I don't know if we've ever really nailed one of these. A few years ago, I thought, no, I don't even know. There's the famous one from year one where Christian said they were going to the conference finals. The next season, I thought Devin Levi was going to yank the Calder away from Connor Bedard. These are always fun.
I think we've said Darlene Norris every single year.
Probably.
We're gonna say it again.
We're gonna
Say it again.
Here's the thing. So every year we've said, like the year the Sabres get into the playoffs, the coach that is coaching them will get
the Jack Adams.
Would that happen for Lindy Ruff? If they were like the 8th seed, would they do it?
As the 8th seed, no, but I think if they were 6,
would it have to be 6?
Win the division.
If they have to get into it,
if they're in a divisional spot, I think Lindy has the Jack Adams.
I don't know. I think they might have to do a little bit better than that. I feel like around the league, kind of like the talk about Lindy Ruff hasn't been the most positive. A lot of people view him as like a coach of generations past at this point.
So that's
I
why
think he'd have
impressive.
to. I really think he'd have to like win the division for him to get the Jack Adams.
I don't know.
So they're gonna do it.
I think breaking
They might.
the drought. I think at least. I think even if we just break the drought, I think he's a finalist.
I think
at the very least.
breaking the drought would lock Darlene for a Norris if he plays all 82 games.
I would hope it at least locks him as a finalist.
It should. If not, then the league just hates this team.
It's been a few years since Makar. Well, did Makar win it last year? I'm trying to remember. Did he?
Yeah,
I feel like
didn't he?
did.
Pretty sure he did.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, he won last year.
Of course he did.
It was Quinn Hughes the year before, then Carlson, then McCarr again.
Of course he did. Crime family.
It'll be Lane. It'll be Cole or Lane. It'll be Lane Hudson at some point because he plays in Montreal.
I don't know. Are we feeling any good vibes for anything heading into the season? Anything fun or wacky? Does Tage Thompson hit 50 goals this year?
That was going to be one of my hot takes. I think he does. I think he stays healthy and he hits 50 goals.
Rocket Richard.
Oh,
I think I would get him close.
I was going to say at least in the conversation.
He'd be in the conversation with like Draisaitl and.
He had the most even strength goals in hockey.
I think
Matthews, if he's.
I think Matthews has a bounce back.
I think he's going nuclear. I think
Yeah.
David might even go nuclear. Just like it feels like McDavid's been on autopilot since the 150 point season. I wouldn't be surprised if he went big. But I think like Matthews, if the Leafs win the division, it's going to be like he's going to have another Hart caliber campaign.
Mm-hmm. He's gonna have like almost 60 goals.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he hits that mark again. But Sabres wise, I think Tage hitting 50, like it just feels like it's a long time coming. Nobody's done it for the Sabres since '93. It's got to happen one of these.
Somebody's got to do it.
And if they have a half decent power play, like Tage Thompson gets there with ease. I mean, he had 44 last year, and it's got to happen one of these times. It's got.
I'm going to say Norris and Tage hit 40. I know
Norris
that's a
hits
low
40?
bar for Tage at this point, but both of them hitting 40.
Okay. Who is the Sabres starting goalie in Game 82?
I think it's Alex Lyon.
I'm going to say UPS.
Let's say it's like a do or die. Like, let's say Game 82 reflects their best line.
I'm saying UPL.
Man, I would say it's close. I guess I'll say UPL if I had to make a safe bet. I know it's not a hot take. Oh, maybe it's Devin Levi.
I don't know. I think if you don't say UPL, something went wrong. That's what I'll say. Or something went really right, but I really wouldn't count on that. I would say something went wrong. The UPL was hurt even longer probably, and then hasn't returned to full force. But I'm going to say UPL.
All right. I have a list here. If nobody has any crazy ones, first of all, I'll go with my the Zach Benson one. I think 65 points.
Oh, jeez.
65 points.
Oh, that is bold, dude.
If Tage Thompson gets to 50 goals, I think
Someone's got to feed him the puck, I guess.
Puck. I mean, like it requires some power play time, but JJ Peterka got 68 last season.
So you're asking Benson to have over double his career high, which is 30.
65 points. If he plays all 82,
Jeez.
um,
I'm hoping he scores 50 like that.
Yeah, that's
65.
yeah.
But I know what you're thinking. Hey, I just said Josh Norris is going to score 40 and Tage. So if both of them do, Benson had to have had a good year.
what was Peterka's point uptick from this past season to the year before? Wasn't it like he went from 50 to 68? And I mean, look, his rookie season, he was in a mostly second line role, had like 30 something points. And then his season with Tage Thompson, he gets close to 7. I know that kind of ignores a year of development, but if Zach Benson plays all 82 games, close to it with Tage Thompson, which he probably should, and might and probably will, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I think 50 points, I feel like 50 points is like a given for him if he's on that top line. I think I would feel, I would almost be, I'm going to call it disappointment. 50 points would be great, but I don't know. I've always believed in the kid, you know that, so I'll say 65.
Peterka went from 32 to 50 to 68.
Yeah,
Might take an extra year, but
maybe.
that's why it's a hot take.
Maybe. It's hot, yeah.
It's hot.
And does that mean he's actually on the power play?
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
he's still not
It's a matter
slated.
of time. It's literally.
You got to put him on the power play. He'd be great in the bumper, man.
Okay, I have a fun list of over-unders I made. If you guys don't have any fun Sabres takes that I quickly just want to go over.
Sure.
Well, we'll start with Quinn. Over-under 45 points.
Under.
Oh, that's a perfect over-under because I'd be thinking right around there. I'm going to go the over, but like just barely over. Like he had 39 points and played bad last year. So
I'm going to go under as well. Yuri Kulik, over-under 25 goals.
Over.
under.
I will also go over.
I think cool.
I think like 26, 27, 28. It's fair if he's in,
I'm
if he's
thinking
in
mid-
style.
I think he might hit 30. He's one that I'm not. I can't remember if I brought up.
My thing
He
was
was fantastic in the preseason and the games he did play.
he was. I think the thing that might hold him back is power play usage. If he was on the first power play unit, I think 30 would be like a.
Well, the power play isn't that good to
Well,
begin
I'm just saying, Jock. I wouldn't be surprised if they just keep Norris and Tage on the wings all season, especially if it works. Rasmus Dahlin, over under 80 points.
Over.
Over.
I don't think
If
he's
it's his
had-
Norris season,
Okay.
Yeah, if it's his Norris season, like we're calling it, over.
I think his career high is like 78 to this point, and I think that was 22, 23. Tage, over under 45 goals.
Over.
You said this was the season.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say over.
Okay.
over.
I'll
He had
stay over.
44 last year. He's got to do better.
Zach Benson, I mean, we know my take, but over under 55 points.
Under.
Under.
Michael Kesselring, over under 35 points.
Ooh. I'm gonna say under just because I see him more on powers that offensive side. If they're gonna be playing together, I think he's gonna be more of a defensive defenseman. I'm gonna say under. Not gonna say he's gonna get like
I should
20 points, but
And I should say, these aren't like betting lines or anything. This is just literally my own head, my own head. I'll probably take under as well. Josh Doan, over under 40 points.
Under.
man, Yeah, I'm gonna go under.
Okay. I'm gonna go over. Say
Okay.
like 42, 43, maybe 45. Josh Norris over under 25 goals.
Over.
Over.
Easy over. I don't know. You guys are really
Slam
high.
the over.
Hammer the over.
I hope so. I really do hope so. But we'll see. I'm gonna take the under. Owen Power over under 45 points.
If he's gonna be the offensive part of that
He
pairing,
had what? I think 40-ish. He just over 40 last year.
yeah, if he's gonna be the offensive horse on that pair, I'm gonna say over.
I'm also going to say over, and he had 40 last year.
He had 40. Huh? I think I'll say over as well, but like it might just be like right there at 45. I think this is the last one. Alex Tuck over under $10 million on his next deal.
Over.
It's gonna be over, yeah.
Okay, I'll take
It'll
over
be
as well.
at or
It seems
over.
like it's heading in that direction. Even though I don't know, Connor McDavid's doing his best to drive value down. The NHLPA might put a hit out on him.
I got a few then. Over under games that Consta Hellenius would play. Over under. I'll put it at.
I think I did this last year too. Like
I think we did.
some rookies.
I'm gonna put it at 6.
Same number that popped into my head, but I'm gonna say under.
I'm gonna say over. I'm gonna say like 15.
15
Really?
games?
I don't think 15 is crazy. Like Alex, like Ryan Johnson's played 30 in a season. You know, if Isaac Roseanne gets like 7 or 8 a year, I think 15 is perfectly.
I'm gonna say over. Just over.
Is that
How about Noah Oslin? I'm gonna put his at like 8 or 9. I mean, he already played games last year.
I'll say over as well. Like I just think I don't believe in Jordan Greenway's health. Even just the overall health of the team. And he was one of the main guys they brought up. I don't know. Maybe because I also feel like I don't know. Maybe I'm factoring in the end of the season stuff where they just try shit usually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take him at like 15 or so too.
I think one of those two I think's graduating this year. So I think one of those two will be up here and definitely break the over. And I'll do one more. Murtka
I knew you were gonna
over
ask.
under 2.
Under.
Because I could definitely
I'm
see him
not-
playing like
I'm
one
I'll
game.
take under.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I was gonna say maybe he'll get like the Savoy thing where he'll be up for like a hot second.
Okay, here's one. How about well actually finish your thought first.
Well, he'll be up for like a hot second, but it'll be in a situation where there'll be a couple injuries, and they'll be like, all right, well, why don't we just give him, we'll give him the NHL treatment, and then we'll just send him back.
True or false? Murtka ends his season in the WHL.
False.
I'm gonna say false. I don't think the organization's gonna put him back there.
I know how the narrative has been this whole time, and I've agreed with it. But in the back of my mind, I did think that they wanted him in the AHL. They always want their prospects in the AHL. They brought Hellenius over right away. They brought Oslin over after 1 year. They brought Wahlberg over after 1 year. I think they like their prospects being in Rochester, so I'm really not surprised, and I think he's going to be there the whole year.
Okay. True or false? Bowen Byram will be on this roster in Game 82.
True. Everybody's on their last year. This will hopefully be the year that they go all in with this roster.
Yeah.
Like I just can't see them blowing it up when there's no one under contract next year.
Yeah.
GM isn't. None of the coaching staff is. I think it would be kind of crazy. They'd pretty much have to give the reins to Kekalainen, and then he would have to
If the
decide.
ship goes down, he's like the only guy aside from Alex Tuck if he's not locked up.
Oh, I
That
agree.
will get traded at the deadline.
I agree with that.
I don't know. That's a tough one for me.
I'll say
they really wanted to move him.
I'll say he's still on the roster.
I'll go a reluctant yes. I think other than that, that's all the ones that I have.
Biggest one of them all. Do they break the drought?
Do these losers finally do it?
Are they even considered lovable losers at this point? Probably not, right?
Before we answer that question, I just want to quickly recap, just what we've alluded to it, but the analytics community is very high on this team going in. I'm just going to recap some points projections from some of the models. So for context, the betting line has the Sabres at 86. A fan survey done by Jay Fresh had them at 85. And I just want you to hear these models. So the Athletic model has them at 90 points. Money Puck has them at 90 points. Do Not Tail has them at 91. Evolving Hockey has them at 99 points.
99.
99. Jay Fresh has them at 94. Brendan Wadlow has them at 98, which was second in the conference in his model. Hockey Viz has them at 92, and then Top Down has the lowest at 88.
Which one of those was the one where we were over the Hurricanes?
Hockey Viz. No. I think it was Brandon Wadlow's. Go.
Because I know if that were to happen, Jonah would.
I'd be posting some heinous stuff. I would be victory lapping. It would be the biggest victory lap of all time. That's insane, dude.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, it's weird.
It's like the weirdest, like, for context, I know just off the top of my head, Jay Fresh last year had them at 84. Or no, he had them at 82. They finished with less than 82. The year before that, he had them at 84, and they finished with 84. And then I think in 22-23, he had them at like 75. And then obviously, that was 22-23. A lot of rookies on, a lot of stuff you couldn't calculate right away. Obviously, they had 90 points that season. But like just looking at Jay Fresh's model, like having them at 94 points, that's like the weirdest. When you're projecting what they're going to do this season, like that's just in the back of your mind, because every year has just been a given. Like, hey, the models aren't going to like them. It just comes down to, hey, does this happen? Does this happen? Does Jack Quinn break out? Does Owen Power take the next step? Things like that. Is their goaltending finally stabilize? And this year, man, it just seems like their baseline, according to these models, is so much higher than I think the general public would guess.
Very high floor.
And it just makes it so tough, because throughout this offseason, I'm like, all right, this is an 86 point team, a ceiling of like 92-ish. And like now, these models are like talking me into, well, okay, well, maybe, they got rid of the dead weight during the off seasons, save for like, I don't know, Jack Quinn, maybe. We rag on Josh Norris, but at his worst, he's just a very mid player. Ryan McLeod, Josh Doan, Michael Kesselring, like these are guys that models really love. Obviously, you have Rasmus Dahlin, you have Owen Power that the model probably also loves. It's very intriguing, and it gets me so close to saying yes. So goddamn
so close,
So
but he's
close.
not. But you're not going to do it.
Goodness.
But he's not going to do it.
I just don't like. I'm gonna root for it, and I think they can. Like, I feel good about them heading. Like, I've had like a calm. Like, I think this is gonna be a good season type of vibe. But at the end of the day, like, I don't like that Josh Norris thing could look really bad like a week in, and then you're scrambling. Injuries, man. Like, look at how this team has been sidelined in just a week's time. Just a week. If one guy goes down, and I know this is the case for a lot of teams, if like watching the Rangers right now, like if Adam Fox goes down, that spells trouble. If Artemi Panarin goes down, that spells trouble. But this team won one of close to 15 games without one of Rasmus Dahlin or Owen Power in the lineup. And they've tried to ease that this year by making a more reliable defensive group. But I don't feel all too differently. But I think their floor is raised. I do think, I don't see this team finishing with less than 85 points. I think it's just, what is their ceiling? So I'm going to have them at 88 or 89 points, just missing out on the playoffs.
Well,
I didn't mean to talk yet. Don't let me talk you out.
you're not.
Okay.
I'm not agreeing with you
Okay.
because listen.
Also, need I remind you, this power play, I still don't believe.
Right? No.
And
Yeah.
that has torpedoed
Completely fair.
maybe two of their. That's going to be I wouldn't be surprised if that's the difference.
I really have liked their off season. I am going to miss JJ Peterka in his scoring, but again, he was a very one-dimensional player. I really like Michael Kesselring and our expectations for Josh Doan, and we have our retained stars in Thompson, Dahlin, Power, and these guys. But yeah, I think it will come down to injuries. But come on, you got to have a little fun with it. I think that they're wild card 1, and they're at 95 points and they make the playoffs.
I'm not gonna go back on what everything I said this offseason. I said it wasn't enough, and just because it's looking better now, I'm not gonna change my mind. I still don't think it was enough in a do or die season, but I still think this team has enough talent, and it just hasn't put it together for the years coming. So, um, it's got to be this year. Like if I ever pick against the Sabres, unless they're going through another rebuild, if I ever pick against the Sabres, like check in on me, there might be something wrong. Like I'm a homer through and through.
The tendies are cold.
I think I picked the Sabres to make the playoffs every year of this podcast, and it's burned me every year, but it's got to be this year.
It's the fun of it.
It's just pure delusion, and that's what makes it fun. So, God damn it, the Sabres are going to make the playoffs, and they're going to be the 6th seed.
Like, I'm rooting for them. They're going to be in this race, which I do believe in. I just think they're just going to miss out. I think it's going to be fun, but still frustrating because it's year 15. It'll end up being year 15.
Hey, you're picking against yourself because that's another year of iceberg moments. So you didn't think about that.
I did not think about that.
Hey,
it doesn't change the quality of the team.
Remember what the old saying goes: as long as there's delusion, we have blank.
Well, that
expletive.
Was thinking that. I just didn't want to say it. I've already said the word 3 times this episode, but it has to be this year. Because I'm only mentioning this once. I don't want to go into this at all, so no one comment after this. But if we don't make the playoffs this year, next year is going to be bad, and this offseason is going to be bad.
Okay. I do not disagree. Okay. As for, I think that's basically all of our, I believe that's basically our preview of the Sabres themselves. NHL hot takes. We do this every year. Just have a little fun with it. Do we have anything fun that we think that's going to happen on the ride? Who are your Stanley Cup picks going in?
Jeez, last year it really burned me.
What was it?
Was it Predators?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, JP.
And
oh my
was it
God.
the Hurricanes? Maybe, I don't know. I haven't thought about it much.
I don't remember who I picked, to be honest. I feel like it might have just been. I don't think I picked Florida. Maybe I picked the Leafs and Oilers. Was that last year? I don't know.
I'm gonna say Carolina finally gets over the hump and they get into the Cup final. And they are going to go up against the Edmonton Oilers. I think the Oilers make it back, and I think this year they finally get over the hump and McDavid gets his first cup.
This would be my least favorite option, but I'm going to pick it. I'm going to say the Hurricanes and the Stars. Both teams that have never gotten past, that really haven't gotten past the conference finals, and maybe they finally do it this year. It's really hard to pick up against the Panthers, but 3 years in a row, I mean, what, that would be
4 years in a row? It's a lot.
It'd be insane. It'd be like the Chiefs. Like it's a lot to ask. A lot has to go right. So I'm gonna go the other way for probably the 4th year in a row on this podcast.
What's Barkov out till? Isn't it supposed to be like right around April or May?
Yeah,
they can't do the LTIR stuff anymore.
Pretty much
right?
up to the playoffs.
It didn't change the roster. I'm gonna say screw it. We're gonna get the third time's the charm. Oilers, Panthers. We're gonna do it again. I think the Panthers sneak in, but then they get Barkov healthy, and it's still them. And I wouldn't be surprised if they made another run. I saw a fun one today. It's not really fun because I would still hate to watch it, but it is fun for the theatrics. Can you imagine Toronto and Vegas met in the final?
Oh my God! I think I'd actually stop watching hockey for the rest of my life if that happened. Not my dream. That's a nightmare.
Who's gonna be the caller?
I mean, it's such a boring. Like last year was so good. You had Celebrini, Michkov, Dustin Wolf.
Matthew Schaefer's going to play 82 games, and just because he played 82 games, they're going to give it to him.
It's Demidov's to lose. I just feel like he has all the hype, and he probably is the best player, and just the guy with the best amount of opportunity in the Canadiens lineup to go up. I don't know. I feel like it's theirs to lose. His to lose.
Fair enough.
Anything else? Rocket picks? I feel like I'm going Matthews. I think this is the year he kind of jumps back up into relevance.
I think I kind of made that apparent. I think with Marner gone, he's going to take on even more of a role in that offense. I think it'll be Matthews.
All right, it's our kind of preview for the NHL season. Before we log off here, there is one more segment that we'll do, and we'll be doing it for the entirety of this year, and it's completely spearheaded by JP. Every Sunday episode, every week going into a week, JP will be previewing the Sabres opponents, just kind of doing a quick rundown, talk about what to expect going in, what their storylines are. So he was really excited about it, and I'm excited to hear about it and participate. So JP, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I think this will, first of all, it's pretty obvious. I don't know my NHL-wide stuff. Okay, Sabres. I could talk Sabres with anybody. NHL-wide stuff. Like,
no, I'm a little in that boat with you too.
You're talking over my head, so I think this will help me with that. I think it'll be good to highlight what's going on with the team that we're facing, what some of their storylines are, if they're playing good, if they're playing bad. I think it'll just help to give us a better perspective on how the game might go. So yeah, every week, whether we play one game, whether we play 3 or 4, I'm gonna just preview the games that are upcoming. So to start this off, so we got 2 games this week. We got the Rangers and the Bruins. The last time the Sabres won their first 2 games was the 21-22 season, and the Sabres have actually lost their first 2 games 3 of the past 5 seasons. So hopefully we do not start off with that.
Still nightmares about last year.
Yeah.
Oh my God, worst start to a season ever.
Yep. I'm gonna be going through this. If you guys want to butt in at any point, go ahead. But so the Sabres open the season at home against the Rangers. This will be Thursday at 7 p.m. This will be on MSG. The anticipated goaltender matchup is probably going to be Alex Lyon versus Igor Shesterkin. Lyon last year went 14-9-1, had a shutout, hit an .896, 2.81 goals against. This was his worst save percentage since the 2020-2021 season, but it was actually his best goals against since his rookie year. I don't know what you want to make of that. Igor Shesterkin went 27-29-5, had 6 shutouts, a .905, and a 2.86 goals against. This is the Sabres home opener. They're 2-3 in their last 5 home openers, or in their last 5 season openers, my bad. And this actually won't be the Rangers' first games. They're playing right now as we speak, and they're currently down 1-0 to the Penguins. This is the home opener. If you're going, they're doing a Rally Tower giveaway. They'll be doing a party in the plaza, red carpet with all the players they always do. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be sold out. I know Jonah will be in attendance. It'll probably be the first one I'll be missing in quite a few years, but it should be a fun crowd. The Sabres are 2-3 in their last 5 home openers. They faced the Rangers in the 23-24 season as their home opener, and we lost 5-1. Sabres lost their Buffalo home opener last year 3-1 against the Kings. The last one they won was against the Senators in the 22-23 season. They won 4-1. Jonah and I remember that game very vividly because we were very high in the team walking out, and I think I put some money down on the Sabres to make the playoffs that
I
year.
thought you were going to talk about how you did. You had the Babe Ruth. You called your shot on JJ Paterno's first NHL goal.
That is true. I did do that. That was one of my peak moments as a fan. To talk about the Rangers a little, after making the playoffs the previous 3 seasons, having over 100 points in each of those seasons, going to the conference finals in 23-24, they missed the playoffs for the last year and finished with 85 points. Most of their team had a down year, including Shesterkin, who had his worst year as a pro. So they're definitely going to be looking to hopefully get back on their form. They went 2-4 this preseason, so not too encouraging start.
We got them beat there.
Yep, and they're currently down 1-0 to the Penguins, who are probably going to be one of the teams in the Gavin McKenna sweepstakes, so it's definitely not starting out good. They really didn't have any preseason stories. The only one I found was Connor Sheary, former Buffalo Sabre, was there in a PTO, and he made the team out of camp, and he's currently playing.
Good for him. Good for him.
So he's still sticking around. Their offseason, pretty quiet for the most part. They basically had two big moves. Other than re-signing their own guys, they traded Keandre Miller to the Carolina Hurricanes for a conditional first, a second, and Scott Morrow. Scott Morrow was a second rounder in the 21 draft, played some time with the Hurricanes last year, but he didn't even make the team out of camp with the Rangers. Their biggest story is they fired their head coach, Peter Laviolette, 2 days after the season ended, and then they hired Mike Sullivan 4 days after he was fired from the Penguins. Sullivan he spent 10 years with the Penguins, winningest coach in their history, had a Stanley Cup with them. So they're definitely looking to recapture some of that magic. It was definitely time for Mike Sullivan to part ways with the Penguins. I'm going to have keys to each of these games. I'm just going to say special teams. The Rangers, in all of their good seasons, their power play is usually towards the top of the league. Last year, they were even behind the Sabres. They were 28th.
No
So
way. I don't believe you.
they
It's
were
a fake.
No, they
made up
were.
stat.
I saw it on the broadcast.
These fake news.
I saw it on the broadcast when they pulled it up when they got their first power play, and I had to do a double take because I was like,
Yeah.
28th.
Yep.
No.
They were
Nope.
like top 10 for years
Uh-huh.
going,
Nope.
and they were 28th last year, but they still have like most of their core guys on that top unit, and Zibanejad, Panarin, and Fox. So
The unction.
I think they're going to be looking to regain that form. And then they've had a top half of the league penalty kill the past 5 seasons. So I would just say let's try and win
Match
this
made
game.
in heaven. I still remember that home opener 2 years ago. Tage Thompson, I think, had 15 one-timers, and they all hit a Rangers player.
Yep.
And I was at that point, I'm like,
I think they figured this out.
I don't think they fixed the power play in the summer.
Yep.
And they did not.
So I think if you're going to want to win this game, play 5-5 hockey. But granted, that's been the story of the Sabres the past 5 years. So let's just play at 5-5 and hopefully you could beat Igor Shesterkin. Then we play the Boston Bruins at home on Saturday, 7 p.m. This will also be on MSG. The goaltender matchup, I'm going to assume, is going to be Alex Lyon and Jeremy Swayman. Swayman last year had his worst year as a pro. He went 22, 29 at 7, 4 shutouts, 892, and a 3.12 goals against. Since this is a divisional matchup, I would highly recommend to go listen to our Sabres versus the Atlantic. If you want to hear a lot more about the team, hear our thoughts on them, how they're going to go this season. But I will highlight them just a little right here. The Sabres did go 3-1 against them last year. The Bruins went 4-2 this preseason. This will be their third game of the season as they actually start the year with a back-to-back, playing on Wednesday against the Capitals.
We'll get them on a second? Oh, you're talking
No,
about
They play Wednesday against the Capitals and Thursday against the Blackhawks.
never get those.
So it'll be their third game. Obviously, after making the playoffs, having Stanley Cup appearance in the previous 8 seasons, having the highest points in NHL history, they finished last year with 76 points. They had a quiet offseason too. Really, the only change was bringing in Marco Sturm. The only players of note on this team are Pastrnak and Swayman. And that's going to be my key to the game. You neutralize David Pastrnak, you basically neutralize their offense. He had 49 more points than anybody else on their team. He was the only player with over 60 points. So if you take him out, if you neutralize him, you don't got to take him out. But if you neutralize him, I don't think they're going to be doing much against you.
Yeah, it's Pasternak, McAvoy, and Swayman, and then just a bunch of nobodies on that roster.
Yeah. So
No disrespect, not nobodies, but it's like it's not what they were 3 years ago.
Yeah, Middlestad's their second line center, so don't think you have to be.
He's also like the only forward I've seen to this point already in trade talks.
Yeah,
You're like, they're not happy with him, but he's also their second line center.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my weekly preview. I'll just say for the weekly storyline, that's just hopefully get off to a hot start and take care of business against the Bruins. They should be a team at the bottom, towards the bottom of the league with their roster. So definitely start the year off hot. But yeah, that's a weekly preview.
Thank you very much, JP.
Thank you, JP.
All right. I think that's going to do it for us. I think they're going to kick us out of here any minute. No, I'm just kidding. Once again, very gracious, very happy, very thankful that Wingnuts allowed us to come record an episode here, and we had a good time. Apologies if around the 30-minute mark, things got a little bit hectic. We were very hungry, and they have very good wings.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So,
I had their signature, their sweet and tangy. I think Christian had some of those too.
Yep. Garlic parm's a sleeper. Garlic parm is a sleeper here.
I just had a good old buffalo medium. Can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong with a buffalo medium.
Can't go wrong there.
And the chicken wing dip.
Chicken wing.
JP loves
Very-
the chicken wing dip
I like
here,
that.
man.
Yeah, I do. But I mean, Christian's a regular here. He said he's
Yeah, I
been
know.
here the past, like,
I already
he's been here the past like 4 weeks.
there's blue cheese written on my doctor's report. So I'm here all the time.
I think they actually had like your picture up somewhere on the wall.
Yeah, it says do not serve this guy.
But yeah, that'll do it. That's our season preview. Looking ahead here, I think we're gonna do 2 times a week, recording wise. The first few weeks of the season that will not start this week, unfortunately. JP said that I will be going to the game Thursday, and actually the reason for that is I have to go across the street actually for a bar league game at 10:30 at night, so I will not be able to get home and record unless you guys want to go.
Hey, all right.
If it's like a 6-0 blowout, you gotta get something off your chest.
Just a rant.
Like, here we go, like
We'll go live.
We'll go live. Me and JP will go live. We'll throw a rant out there.
free. But the plan right now is not for that to happen unless they say otherwise. So next time we'll record will be either next Sunday or maybe we wait till after Monday since the Columbus State game is at 12:30 versus the Avalanche. So well,
But then I didn't preview that game.
okay,
Yeah, we're
gotta
gonna be
go.
messing up my
All
segment.
right, we're doing it Sunday, dude. My bad. That's a very good point. All right, we'll see you guys Sunday next time. But other than that, if you want to follow us on Twitter, as always, follow us at Sabre Report. Also on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at the Sabre Report. If you listen to this on YouTube, thank you very much for listening. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments down below. A lot of thoughts, a lot of predictions about this upcoming season. Would love to hear your input. We always read and give some feedback to your comments. If you want updates for the pod, you can follow us at Sabre Report Pod. Go give our friends over at the Buffalo Sports Talk podcast a listen. Tough loss for the Buffalo Bills this week. I
Ugly.
know they're going to have a lot of things to say about probably the coaching in particular, heading into their Week 6 matchup against Atlanta. So stay tuned for that. They do great stuff over there. So yeah. Any final thoughts? We didn't give our McKenna predictions. Where does Gavin McKenna end up?
He's good.
The Bruins.
He's gonna be a Penguin. I could see it. It's just written in the stars.
Penguins are too good.
You think so?
Unless they trade Crosby. Do you think
Are
they
you-
trade Crosby? It feels a lot more possible now.
Yeah.
It feels like they're starting to dance around.
Well, here's the thing: are the Penguins just really that good, or are the Rangers just ass again?
I think the Penguins are like closer to 80 points than they should be. Like, what are you doing this? Are you rebuilding? Are you, like, why are Rickard Rakell and Brian Russ still on this?
What if he goes to Chicago? I could see that.
I could see, dude.
Bedard,
They are
McKenna,
Like,
They're
it's still-
Nazar.
like, they are still bad, and
They're
like, they
really-
still have so much more work to do. But like Bedard, McKenna, Frank Nazar, oh my god, like that would
filthy.
that's such a filthy core. Like it would make me like them
Yeah.
because oh man, I feel like San Jose's days are sort of done there.
Mm.
I like Calgary as a sleeper.
It's not ridiculous.
I'm saying the Bruins.
And then there's the Buffalo factor.
It's not going to be us.
Okay.
No way.
All right. That's gonna do it. Do you guys have any final thoughts?
Go follow Wingnuts on
Yeah,
social media.
Follow Wingnuts.
Uh,
Wingnuts.
Yeah, we're at the one near the airport.
We're at the
This is
Gen-
like recently new.
We're at the Genesee location.
Yep.
There's also one on Millersport out in Amherst. I think they're making a new one somewhere else. I believe.
I think there's already one downtown.
Maybe there's one downtown. But the two main locations here and in Millersport. Go check it out. Great wings. Probably the best in Buffalo. If not, it's probably in the top 5, unless you have some other thoughts.
And they do a lot of stuff during the week too.
Yes,
They do
Always
trivia.
doing events. I mean,
Always something.
we had to schedule things to make this work because they're so busy. I think Jackson Hawes was here last night for a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
The Bills rookie tight end. So always a lot of stuff going on in here. It's one of the best places to go for food and vibes in Buffalo.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, Thanks for listening. Thank you, Wingnuts, for hosting. We'll see you guys next time. And as always, go Sabres.
Go Sabres.
Go Sabres.
Let's have a year.